Kimberly. Oh yeah, she secured that blessing. Welcome back to another 90-day recap. We are focusing in on Kimberly and Usman. And while you're at it, hey, look, you know what? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hey, welcome. Please make sure you sit around and stay around. And yeah, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and be part of the family because I would so love to have you. Wow, y'all. I'm telling you what, I am so impressed with the tenacity that is Kimberly. Much, much better and much more enjoyable to watch other than, what was that other one, Baby Girl Lisa? Yeah, so glad that that's a chapter that's in the past. Woo! Now, as you can see here, I got my festive harvest mug. Yeah, I really like this mug. I got it actually last year. And so I just wanted to pull it out because, you know, hey, still trying to recover. And this has become a comfort mug. So let's get into it because I know that's what you are here for. I am impressed with the skills, the negotiating skills of Usman. Oh yes, Usman is on point. He knows exactly how to get what he wants. And what he wanted was Kimberly as his number one. Yes, and aren't we excited for that? Look here, I absolutely adore Kimberly. Okay, I do get a little troubled sometimes about the way that she comes across. You know, I feel a little bad when I feel like she's, you know, kind of lacking in that self-love department. But you know, I just think Kimberly is one of those individuals who is just truly and romantic at heart and wants so much to have somebody to love. And there's so many people who fall into that category. You know, we all want to have somebody to love, someone who cherishes us, someone who respects us, someone who protects us, you know, all of those good things. Now, I'm not saying Usman is the number one partner that, you know, maybe she could find, but I understand the whole love and romance thing. And the bottom line is, we watched Kimberly in about, 2 seasons go from super fan to number one to be married woman of Usman. Like, whoever would have thought that Usman was actually going to settle down, like for real settle down. Oh, yeah, but I tell you what, she's been much more of a joy to watch than Baby Girl Lisa, so, you know, there you go. I'll take Kimberly any day of the week. So let's go ahead and get into this. Let's go and get in how we got to the fact that Miss Kimberly got that blessing, y'all. So basically, the last episode starts off with Usman and his mother going to meet that other young lady who was actually the daughter of his mother's friend, to see if she could be potential wife material for Usman. Now, of course, Usman is letting us know that he wasn't really too thrilled to do this, but he cannot tell his mother no, because telling his mother no, as we find out later in the episode, he shares is the same as saying no to Kimberly, because if his mom says no, he's got to say no, right? So he says, look, we need to concoct a plan that we can go ahead and just move forward with doing what my mother wants us to do, and she'll come around, you know, because I'll work that situation, is basically what he's saying. So, you know, Kimberly's going along with it, but she is none too thrilled, obviously, right? We all know that Miss Kimberly has already sacrificed so much in regards to all things in the name of love, right? I mean, she understands that she's in a position where she is not able to have children. Usman is, you know, a young man who hasn't had any children. And so she has really taken it upon herself to fall on that sword and give him the opportunity to have more than one wife, in order to have children, so his mother can have grandchildren, which she desperately wants. And, you know, we can understand, you know, we want to increase the the brood and just have as many family members as we can. So, you know, hey, this is what we do, right? Well, interesting enough, you know, Usman does go and they open up the door and we are introduced to the young lady's mother, who kind of brings them in, and, you know, very friendly, just, you know, just really excited really to see that Usman and his mother was there. And then out comes this beautiful statuesque 18-year-old young woman, Faraday. And oh my goodness, she was beautiful. All I could think of was like, wow, you have so much life to live. Really, do you gotta hunker down now? But different culture, different things. Everybody has different desires on what they want to do with their life. And Faraday does share later on within the episode that it's her great wish really to have a husband and be married and have children. And so this is what she's wanting to do. So she's more than happy to meet Usman. So the exchanges of the hellos and all that stuff go off without a hitch. And the mothers decide, hey, look, it might be a good idea to give these two an opportunity to talk, Usman and Faraday, that is, so they can kind of get to know each other a little bit, right? It's kind of like almost like a blind date, but not quite a blind date. So Faraday and Usman, before the mothers actually stepped out and they were kind of, going back and forth in conversation, they seemed a little bit bashful, trying to look at each other, not trying to look at each other. I mean, it is pretty awkward considering that Usman had just been proposed to by Kimberly the night before. So, that's not really so great. But Faraday didn't have any idea of this. So, as far as she's concerned, she's just meeting a new guy. So, as the mothers do exit off stage left, Usman decides to, go ahead and break the ice a little bit and ask how Miss Faraday is doing. And Faraday says, I'm doing fine, thank you. And he's like, okay, that's great. So, he wants to kind of get to know her a little bit and kind of feel her out, see how she's doing. And, he's kind of gets right on in there and asking some of his questions. But before he gets into that question area, he does have to flirt a little bit, because that's what Usman does. He flirts a little, doesn't he? So he then goes and just basically says, wow, I was thinking that I was probably going to head on out of here. But then I come in here and I see how beautiful you are, and I just had to stay. Yeah, that's Usman for you. So, of course, Miss Faraday just kind of gives a little bit of a smile, and, because quite frankly, she's stunning, all right? I'm sure she's not the first time she's heard this. But it was just really cute. And so, anywho, Usman then goes on to ask her, do you have any other suitors by any chance? Anybody else kind of catcalling or anything? And she says, well, no. And of course, Usman is a little bit like taken aback, because she's a stunning beauty. How does she not have anybody that's trying to profess their love for her? It's just, well, nobody's serious. So, okay, so, she's available. She's hanging out. She's kind of testing out the waters, and she's just seeing what's going on right here. So, Usman perks up a little bit. But I will say this about Usman that I do appreciate is he says, look, I'm going to tell you in full transparency, I got another woman, okay? And so he says, look, I had another woman. I've been dating her for a while. I love her. And yeah, my plan, if this was to work out, is to marry this other woman first and then maybe take you on as a wife later. How would you feel about that? Now, before that, because there was something else that they talk about, I want to say before that. And I believe it was that Usman, asked if how many kids she was looking to want to have. And that was important because it was another way of them kind of vibing, right? So Faraday says, I would love to have no more than 4 kids. Usman's like, that's just great. And then, hey, let's go ahead and do that. That sounds about the right number that I want as well, so that's perfect for me. And so from that point, then he goes into talking about, the other woman. He doesn't name Kimberly by name. He just says the other woman, and that he's been with her for a while, loves her, and, again, wants to take her as his first wife, and then maybe Miss Faraday could be his second wife. And, he simply asked her, would you be amenable to that agreement? And Miss Faraday says, surely no. And he's like, oh, okay, well, what would you like to see happen here if you were so inclined to want to be with me? Well, Miss Faraday says, yeah, so you would marry me first and then marry the other woman eventually. Now, I think that sounds about fair, honestly. I quite frankly don't even know why anyone would even want to agree to anything else. But, hey, that's just me. So, Usman's like, oh, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But he doesn't say it that way. He just says it's not really the most sensible thing for me to necessarily marry you first because, I just met you, right? And I've known her for a long time. And so, there's love there, He's put in the work in this relationship. So it just didn't seem right to do it the other way. So, she's kind of just, well, your mother is not thrilled at all, and she says she doesn't want you marrying that woman, so what you gonna do about that, Usman? So Usman's like, in due time, I'll have to work that out. So, he kind of sachets over into wondering if, of course, the loaded question is, do you know who I am? Yes, he wanted to know if she knew about his business, because Usman is soldier boy out there in those streets. And of course, Faraday knows who he is. Now remember, Faraday is from the same region as Usman. And Usman shared with us a couple episodes ago that, he's very, very popular and, he gets a lot of fanfare. Everybody knows who he is. I mean, he's a celebrity out in these streets. So therefore, of course Faraday would know who he is. But I just tell you, Faraday is just, she's so demure and just so not to be bothered, but still gives a little bit enough to show interest. So yeah, she's got that down really nicely. So of course, she is a great catch, right? Usman says, hey, I would probably go on with her and create this life and everything if I met her before Kimberly, But one thing I will say is that at least Kimberly stayed on his mind, which is not much to say for some others who did some other things back in the past 9 days. So we're not going to talk about that. We're going to stick with Usman and Kimberly. So yeah. How exciting though, right? She got that blessing. Okay, so let's stay focused. Let's stay focused. So, everything's going really well on that front. She says, yes, I know who you are. I knew who you are before we're meeting now. And then she tells us in her little confessional that, yeah, she actually has heard his songs and knew about his business from social media, right? It's like the gateway to everything. So she was really interested and liked what she saw. So, hey. But she was very careful not to give too much, right? So, I mean, I love a girl who's smart on that. But, yeah, so at the end of the day, she's interested, she's available, would love to see how this could go. So, of course, she wants to let it be known that, look, if we were to pursue anything, it wouldn't be us getting married right away anyways. I want to get to know you better. And so, of course, that works in Usman's favor. The only problem is neither Kimberly or Faraday want to be the second wife. They both want to hold the pole position of the first wife. So, therein lies the dilemma. So this kind of concludes this nice meeting between Faraday and Usman. And if nothing else, I personally could see them being, family friends, because I just don't see how it's going to work out myself. So Usman and his mother go ahead and exit stage left from the house after their visit with Miss Faraday, and his mother is anxious to know what he thought about her. And so she basically just asks, hey, so what did you think about her? And he says, yeah, she's nice. Yeah, but I need to let you know, Mom, I love Kimberly. Now, I do not believe at this point that his mother knows that Kimberly had actually proposed to him the night before, right? So he's really professing that love. And his mom is just kind of like, okay. I love Usman's mom. Like, she's so cool, calm, and collected. Oh, Lord. I just love her. So they decide to go ahead and go on about their way. And yeah, he's got to do some thinking. He tells her before they walk off, I need to do some thinking. I'm not really settled on what I want to do at the moment, and I just need some time. So, his mother's like, okay, he needs time. So there you have it, right? Now, at the time this whole meeting was going on, we clicked to Kimberly to see what she's doing, because she's left at the hotel, right? And, I have to say, Kimberly, oh, wow, she really, really has the strength of many, many, many men and women. Because there is no way in God's green earth I would ever sit and wait for my man to go to see some other woman. It's just not happening. Not at all. But, look, they got a game plan in place. And Kimberly has made the assertion and understanding that, look, I wanted to be able to have kids, and this is what he wants, so I am perfectly okay with him being, finding him a second, maybe even a third wife. Actually, she did say she wasn't interested in more than one, but we'll see how that goes in the future. But she's pretty hurt, really, that she has to sit back and deal with this. And she also shares that, look, if this was me and I was Usman, I wouldn't go and see another woman while he was here in the country, right? I would wait till he went home first, right? I mean, that would be the respectable thing to do, right? So there we have it, she's getting herself maybe a cup of coffee or tea or something like that. She's sitting down and really trying to hold her stuff together, because I know deep down she wanted to explode and implode all over that hotel room. But, she kept it cool, calm, and collective, and she just, says, look, I'm a trooper, I'm hanging in there. And, she really did. And sometimes hanging in there does pay off. And if I will say this, one thing about Kimberly, she is a definition of if persistence was a thing, it's going to be Kimberly, right? I mean, she knows how to get a goal and stick with it and move forward, heaven and earth, no matter what she has to do to get to that goal. Sometimes if you want it bad enough, you just want it bad enough. So, after Usman has his time, him and his mother part, Usman comes into the hotel. I'm a little bit shook and nervous about how this exchange is going to go, but I'm waiting patiently like everybody else is, and I'm sure if you're watching 90 Days, you were waiting too. But I have to say, Kimberly, again, he walks in and she's cool. She doesn't start pillaring with a bunch of questions, well, at least not right off the bat. She doesn't throw a lot of attitude. She's just more concerned about, how did it go? And, when he comes in a little bit like, he said it was fine. And she says, was fine. What does that mean? So he says it was fine. She's a lovely lady and she was beautiful. And, we had a nice conversation. And yeah, I liked her, but like isn't love. Usman, that sly dog. Don't he know how to charm a woman? So I think Kimberly's inner flutter of her heart kind of just perked up a little bit, like, oh, he just professed his love to me again, because let's be for real. Like doesn't match with love, right? So really, it's nice to be able to have an opportunity to get to meet someone, know someone, go through the wickets, make sure you even want to be with this person for any long length of time. And, so at the end of the day, there's no competition probably for Kimberly and anybody else, because Kimberly did the work. She put in the work, she put in the time. It's been a few years. What we doing here? So yeah, I mean, heck, for heaven's sake, she went from super fan to super fan to girlfriend to, fiance in the speed of light. So, give the girl her flowers, right? So, they have a little bit more conversation, Kimberly and Usman do in the hotel room, where, she's basically saying, I understand that you had to do this. I understand you needed to, do what your mother said. But, does your mother know, that I'm here? Does she know that I'm sitting here in this room waiting while you're meeting another woman? Does she, know that? Because, look, Kimberly wants her to understand the commitment and loyalty that she is showing Usman and the respect level that she is showing his mother. And she wants to make sure she's getting that credit for it. And you know what? Look, honestly, if you're going to go meet another woman, I'm thinking, yeah, I deserve that too. So, Usman, he's a little bit agitated. And, he just basically says, look, we've got to work this plan, okay? We've got to wait. We had to show my mom that we were going to do what she asked us to do. We had to at least consider what she wanted if we want to try to get her to give us what we want. So, Kimberly's like, look, back off, dude. I understand. I understand the plan, and I know this is hard for you, right? I get it. I just want you to know that I'm here and I'm loyal, and yeah, and you need to remember, this is the undertone, I am going to be number one, because that's all I'm accepting. Because as Miss Kimberly has said, because look, she does have some self-worth, doesn't she? She says, look, I ain't sacrificing anymore. I have made my line in the sand. So, hey, whatever floats, whatever boat you got. So, Usman just, he understands, and she's like, apologizes in the sense that she knows that I know this is hard on you. I know that you had to listen to what your mom said. And again, he shares about the fact that, yeah, if I say no to my mom, that's like saying no to you, because if my mom says no about this, I got to say no to you. And at the end of the day, that ain't going to work for Kimberly, right? Kimberly's been sashaying her behind back and forth to from the States to Africa over and over and over again. Look, she's got way too much invested. Now, as they're talking, Kimberly happens to notice that Usman is not wearing his ring. And honestly, I can understand why Usman would not have worn the ring, the engagement ring she gave him, because it would be kind of awkward to have this engagement ring to meet another female. You know what I'm saying? Before she even knew that he had somebody else. It would have been a little awkward because, like he said, you know, she's a bit of the modern thinking, right? And yeah, so she would probably think something was up. So that's why he took off the ring. And also he says, look, hey, in my region, we don't wear rings. So, you know, I'm only doing it for Kimberly anyways, right? That Usman, boy, that Usman, and he's just quite the charmer. Oh, the sacrifices, man, the sacrifices. So anyways, you know, Kimberly, you know, she's not too thrilled about it, but hey, it is what it is, that she can do about it, but she just wanted to make sure to be noted that I know, that I see, and I want you to know that I see, she ain't got that ring on, that I just proposed to you with last night. Oh, goodness. So as they're going on with that conversation, you know, Usman basically, you know, just says, I need you to know. I mean, this is after his ranting about, you know, what he needed to do with his mom says and all that good stuff. You know, I need you to know that I look at you as the priority. I look at you as the number one. Oh, Usman knows how to win a semi-argument. You know, you say what you got to say and then you just flatter her a little bit. Kimberly melts. So she jumps into his, well, okay, so she didn't jump, but she, you know, she comes on over. She's very excited. She sits in his lap. They give each other a kiss and a hug. And she's so happy because she has convinced him that they are on the same page, that she is to be number one. And truth be told, as the last episode moved through, Usman kept really saying that he really wanted Kimberly to be the number one wife. And truth be told, I think it's not just because he only loves her, even though he does, because he was a little perplexed on what he was going to do. But it's also because she put in the work. She showed him what he needed to see, right? And we all know Kimberly was adorning him with gifts, flying back and forth, doing all kinds of things, putting herself in all kinds of spiral positions to make this man happy. So, you know, this is his way of appreciating the fact of all of her good efforts, right? Because Kimberly worked hard for this relationship. And, you know, look, when you work hard for something, I guess you should get it. So, yeah, so at the end of the day, look, Kimberly's happy, it's fine, it's great TV, we love it, right? Whatever, right? So, you know, they get to, I guess, spend the rest of the evening to themselves, and then the next day, which would be the last day that we're going to be in Soko, before they went back to wherever they were prior, and I'm not really sure where that was, but it really doesn't matter. Usman gets a call from his brother, Muhammad. Now, Muhammad is the elder brother, right? Because Farouk was the brother that Kimberly had the run-in with a couple of weeks ago. He was very, you know, stern and not interested, and, you know, look, you ain't the one for my brother, blah, blah, blah. Muhammad is the one that you actually want to talk to. He's the more reasonable one, he's the more sensible one, and he is the elder brother. So, you know, he tends to be a lot more calmer and kind of thinks his conversation through, and just all in all, a nice gentleman, right? So, of course, when mama calls, you listen, you get to wherever she needs to go. So Muhammad tells Usman, hey, mom wants to see you and Kimberly immediately. So they set it up. This was unbeknownst to them, obviously, until the phone call came through. So, you know, they say, hey, we got to go. Mama's calling, we got to go. So they go into what looks like a park. And they wait, and both Kimberly and Usman are so nervous. I mean, my goodness, if they could just walk away and come back, they would have, you know. It was just really sweet to see how nervous they were, because they're really hoping that, you know, his mother would really, really give them this blessing. And, you know, Kimberly reminds Usman, hey, look, because, you know, Kimberly's a good team player, I have to say. You know, she said, look, we got this, right? We got this. It's fine. You love me. I love you. We got this. We're going to get that blessing. We hope. So, you know, Usman is like, yeah. Okay, let's see what's going to happen here. So after a couple of minutes, Muhammad and Usman's mother appears. And Muhammad's got papers, y'all. He's got papers. That's got to mean something. We just don't know what at this moment. So, of course, they do their salutations and they have a seat. You know, one thing about Usman's mother, she's got a great poker face. You never really know until the very end how she's really feeling sometime if you were just to look at her expressions on her face, because she is one stoic woman. You know, she just looks at you and like, it's kind of one of those things, if you could only read her mind, right, and know what she was saying. Yeah, I'm sure she was saying a lot, because Usman has probably put her through a lot through the years. It's no doubt about that. So anywho, you know, everything seems to be on friendly terms, and I know Kimberly was very happy to see Muhammad, because that's the brother she was looking for. She didn't understand where Farouk came from and why he was in the conversation, but she was very happy to see Muhammad. So, you know, look, this is it. This is game time. We're at the point where you like toss up the ball and you figure out what's going to happen, right? This is it. Everything we have worked for is come down to this very moment. So Muhammad then says, well, I have an agreement, and it's an agreement from all of the family that we want Kimberly to read. An agreement. Okay, let's take a look. So Kimberly gets this agreement. She opens up the envelope. She starts reading it. Y'all, it was really nice. It was such a moment. So anyways, she's reading through it, and she's basically reading over the few things. One of the items is that neither Usman or Kimberly will benefit from each other's monies or personal belongings unless they agree upon it. So I'm like, oh, okay. We getting somewhere. Second, if Kimberly and Usman decide to go to the United States, Usman is to come and visit his family in Nigeria every quarter. Y'all thinking what I'm thinking? It's getting warmer. And then third, Kimberly agrees that Usman can take a wife for the purpose of having children at a later date. Yes! So we all know what's happening, right? We know what's happening. She's getting the blessing. Yes. And it's so sweet, because Kimberly, as she's reading it, and she says, oh my gosh, I'm reading this and I'm now feeling, I just got the blessing. And then, Usman, he was so ecstatic as he's reading this along with her. And Muhammad looks at her and says, do you agree to our terms? Yes, I agree. Give me the pen. I'm signing my name on the dotted line. Let's get this going. Oh, girl, this is so great. She can now start planning for her wedding, the wedding of her dreams, no doubt. And I am here for it, because I love when someone can get their goal accomplished, right? So yeah, we are going to see more Usman and Jenny, and I'm telling you, did I say Jenny? No, we don't want to see nobody else with Usman. Usman and Kimberly. Look, after that Lisa situation, I'm over it. But we're going to be seeing them more to come, because I'm just so excited for them. So, you know, everybody's happy, everybody's excited. And then Usman, you know, he's like, yes, woohoo! He is so excited. And he looks at his mom. He goes, Mom, please make us smile and tell us that you're going to give us your blessing. You know, I actually asked for this union to be blessed. And she says, I give my consent. Now, she has such a beautiful smile too. It was so wonderful. So everybody's joyous. Muhammad is laughing. They do a beautiful blessing for them right there. And it's done. It is done. Kimberly achieved her objective, and that is to become the number one in Usman's life. And we are so excited. Oh yes, we are so excited. And as you can see, I am excited. But I would love to know how you feel. Do you think that this was a wonderful thing for Kimberly to have accomplished? I mean, like, are you impressed with the skill set that both of them have actually exuded in order to get this done? I mean, honestly, do you think this marriage is going to work? I mean, do you think there's going to be some issues later on? Yeah, I don't know. Drop those thoughts in the comments below. Are you happy that Kimberly got the blessing? I mean, honestly, this woman put in work. So yeah, I would love to know that. Go ahead and drop those comments in the comment section. Let's start a conversation about it, because oh my gosh, Kimberly done got the blessing. So of course I am so glad that you were able to join me for this recap, and I'm not quite sure when the other one's going to drop, so make sure that if you are new here that you subscribe. I would so love again to have you here so you don't miss the next drop of a recap from this past episode. I am super excited. Yeah, Kimberly done got that blessing. We are on our way. We are on our way, because Lord have mercy, we have been through it, haven't we? And when we want to see Usman settle down, for, I mean, heaven's sakes, don't we want to see that? Yeah, it's so great, so great. So again, thank you so much for being here. If you did enjoy the video, I do hope that you will give it a like. It will help my video, and I would so appreciate it, of course. And yeah, I think that what about does it. So until next time, bye.